Hello viewers, how are you all? I hope everybody is doing just fine. So as I already talked about in my last video that today's video is gonna be about creative writing. So in today's video I'll focus on one particular topic, that is story writing. Not all but most of us like to read stories. Many of us don't know how to write stories in a proper manner. So in today's video, I'll talk about the parts of a story and how you can arrange those parts sequentially and how you can come up with a brilliant story. Now let's get started. So a story basically has three parts. Okay, so if we divide the story, we can divide it into three parts. So the beginning, the middle and the end. Okay, so when suppose you are reading something and you are opening the storybook and you are reading and you just started to read the story. So that is the beginning of the story, when the story has just started. So when you just flip the pages and you flip some of the pages and you come to a particular point, that is the middle. So you have already started reading this first few pages and you come to the middle of the story, and then you just you are going on reading and at the end you just close the book. So that is the end of the story. So this is very, very simple. When I started to read the story, that is the beginning of the story. When I flip the pages and come to a particular point, that is the middle, and when I am closing the book, that is the end of the story. Okay, so apart from all these, a story has setting, it has characters, it has plot, it has conflict, it has resolution and so on. But today's video I'll mainly focus on the three parts of the story. Okay, so first the beginning. So when you start to read the story, in the very first part we are introduced with the various characters. Okay, the various characters and the setting of the story. So who are the characters? All those who have dialogues, right? Some lines, the characters. It could be a boy or a girl, a prince, a princess, a dog, an animal, a bird and so on. So we meet the characters and the setting. Now what is the setting? A setting is the place. So these two things you have to keep in mind when you are starting to write a story. You have to keep in mind that there are few characters and there is a setting in the beginning of the story. So you have to introduce the characters and the setting at the very beginning. Now let's talk about the middle. So the middle basically focuses on some problem. Okay, so every story or most of the stories that we read have some problems in them. Okay, so what is that problem and how the characters are going to solve that problem. So the middle basically deals with the problem and how the character is gonna solve that problem. Okay, and now let's talk about the end. When we come to the end, the problem is basically solved. The characters have solved the problem and the story ends. So that is the ending. So you have to, when you are writing a story, you just have to make that, the structure in your head. Okay, that I have to divide my story into three parts: the beginning, the middle and the end. The beginning is mostly about the characters and the setting. The middle is mostly about the problem and how the problem is how the characters will solve that problem, and the end, the problem is solved. And one very important thing I would like to share at this point is that a story, it could be like a happy ending or a sad ending. So if the characters, they are all happy and the problem is solved in a positive way, it is throwing some positive vibes, then it has a happy ending. And just the opposite in case of sad ending, some of the characters, suppose they are not alive, they are dead, and by the end of the story they are dead and the problem is solved, but there are more complications there and the problem is not fully solved and the characters are not happy at the end of the story. So that is a sad ending. So a story, it could have a happy ending as well as a sad ending. So these are the three parts of the story that you have to remember. Okay, when you are going to write a story. So now in my next video I'm going to talk about the other other parts, that is the plot, okay, the conflict, the resolution and everything. So it's like a if you are walking uphill, okay, and then you are just going downhill. So if you think, if you imagine, okay, that in your mind, that you draw a structure in your mind that there is a hill, and first you are walking uphill and then you are going downhill. So that is basically the structure. So you start to ride, you know, you start to walk walk uphill, and then you come at a point, you know, the highest point, that is the climax, okay, and then you go downhill. So all this I'm going to share in my next video, but today's video I think it is much helpful, and whenever you are going to write a story, you just have to keep in mind the structure. The structure is very important. Okay, the parts of the story, the you know, the plot, the conflicts, they are also important, but the structure, how you will divide your story into various parts, that is also very important. Okay, so so this much for today. I hope that this video helps. If you wish to watch more such videos, please comment, okay, in the comment section. I would love to read your comments. So see you in my next video. Until then, bye bye and stay safe.